Tonight,
a year ago, we were canceling flight because we didn't have enough passengers, and now we're canceling flights because we don't have enough pilots.
a return to travel woes, what to expect this holiday weekend, and from being bullied to one of America's biggest stages.
I realized, like I'm in this low place and nothing is going to get me out except for God.
We sit down with the reigning Miss USA to hear her story of redemption. Plus,
raise your hand if a dog's ever saved your life. And everybody's hand just went up pretty much.
meet one of America's four-legged heroes. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. As COVID restrictions loosen, Americans gear up to celebrate Independence Day. Good evening and welcome to Faith Nation. I'm Heather Sells. With many across the country trying to get back to pre-pandemic life, the travel industry is getting a big boost. Some experts believe Americans will be hitting the highways and skyways at a pre-COVID pace this holiday weekend, bringing the return of traffic that was mostly non-existent this time last year. George Thomas reports.
14 months after a global virus brought travel to a screeching halt, the industry is about to hit a frenzied pace. With 46% of Americans fully vaccinated and mask mandates lifted in most places, this holiday weekend is expected to be the busiest since the beginning of the pandemic.
There's an amazing amount of pent-up demand for people to connect with each other and reunite.
Leisure demand is up more than 100% of what it was in 2019. And that has airlines, for example, struggling to keep up, forced to cancel scores of flights due to staffing shortages.
The recovery of air travel has happened so fast. The airlines are scrambling to get as many flights in the air without the labor force often to back that up.
The massive travel surge also affecting fuel supply, as some 3.5 million are expected to take to the skies in coming days.
The pilot comes on the line and says, this is the first time in 30 years I've been told there's no fuel.
Meanwhile, back on the ground, folks can expect to pay more to fill up at the pump for the foreseeable future. Gas prices right now at the highest they've been since the 4th of July in 2014.
It just proves that the road trip is back, stronger than ever, and we expect that trend to continue through the end of the summer.
Though in some places, stations are reportedly running out of gas due to a shortage of truck drivers needed to deliver that fuel.
The good news is there's plenty of fuel flowing. It's just a matter of time before stations that have lost supply of gasoline have another delivery made.
Here at the ocean front in Virginia Beach, Virginia, city officials are telling locals and tourists alike to prepare for traffic congestion, as they're expecting larger than normal crowds. Tourists like Chris Smith, visiting all the way from Seattle, simply thrilled to be out enjoying the water.
Well, I think people are excited to get out and about, and hopefully they'll make wise decisions on still keeping safe.
I thought that I was going to be stuck in the house for a few more years, and in my neighborhood, I didn't think that in only a year and a half we were going to be all the way here at Virginia Beach for the second time. According to
AAA, from Thursday through Monday, some 50 million people are expected to take a trip of 50 miles or more away from home. George Thomas, CBN News.
After her father was sent to prison, Asia Branch dreamed of escaping her painful childhood, and her dreams came true when she captured the Miss USA crown. Charlene Aaron spoke with the reigning pageant queen about how she's using the power of her redemptive story to inspire others.
Growing up, Asia Branch wanted to escape a troubled childhood. That led to the dream of becoming Miss USA. A true long shot, she never imagined making history on two fronts, becoming the first Black woman to be crowned Miss Mississippi and the first from her state to win the national title.
Mississippi has never won Miss USA before, and so going into the competition, I was just like, wow, I could make history again.
This response to a question on gun control during last November's competition clinched her win.
Gun laws. education should be available to everyone. I believe that we should require people to pass training and safety courses before they're allowed to purchase a gun and before receiving a permit. I think it's important that we not ban guns, because obviously people will find a way to get what they want anyways, but I think it's our Second Amendment right, and we just need more safety surrounding that.
Miss USA 2020 is Mississippi.
Crowned during the pandemic, Asia Branch, a University of Mississippi grad, has since moved to New York to make the most of her unprecedented reign.
Just making sure that I'm keeping myself safe as well as those around me. And so there is a lot of virtual opportunities for me in interviews, just like I'm speaking to you now. And I think that's kind of the new normal as of right now. And so that does make the year look a little bit different.
For this queen, making adjustments has been part of life. At age 10, her father was convicted of armed robbery and sentenced to 10 years in prison.
It was a very, very difficult time because my father was our firm foundation in our family. I remember that very same week, I was like, I have to write him a letter. And I sprayed it with my perfume so he could remember me. That was a very emotional experience for me, writing this letter. I was crying.
The sixth of 8 children, Asia and her family struggled to survive.
We lost our home to foreclosure, and we were struggling to make ends meet, didn't know if our lights and water would stay on, where our next meals were coming from.
Taught about God early in life, her father's imprisonment left Asia angry and filled with doubt.
Why would God tear our family apart? Why would he, put us through all of this?
Often bullied as a teen, she struggled with her own self-worth. One day, feeling desperate and alone, Asia cried out to God for answers and spiritual renewal.
I realized, I'm in this low place and nothing is going to get me out except for God. And so I put all my faith in him and I relied on him once again. And I feel like since then, I've been able to thrive.
She says holding on to scripture was life-changing.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. And I would write that in all of my notebooks in school. I would doodle it and just really let it soak in because, at the time I had no idea what God's purpose was for me. I didn't understand what was going on in my life. It applies to so many different things in life. Sometimes we don't see the bigger picture, but if we trust in God in the end, it'll all work out.
Now a criminal justice advocate, Asia shares that hope with other kids who have parents behind bars.
I should have never become Miss USA, but here I am. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter what you've been through. You have the means possible to become whatever it is your heart desires. You can be the first in your family to take a good path and then set that example for those to come behind you.
Asia hopes to let her inner beauty shine bright.
Having that peace in your heart and that peace of mind really can carry you far. And I've really just been focusing on me and, what I want in life, what I plan to pursue, what my heart's desires are.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Asia's reign as Miss USA will continue through November when she will help crown the next woman to fill the role. Well, before the first official Independence Day, a country founded on prayer. Sometimes reports on America's founding fathers focus on their flaws and failures, but they don't always paint the complete picture. So what really happened when this group of freedom fighters gathered at the First Continental Congress? They turned to God. Paul Strand recently retired, but he leaves us with this story.
Feeling the lash of British oppression, colonial representatives first met at Philadelphia's Carpenters Hall in 1774. But no one was sure how to begin a Continental Congress. Firebrand Samuel Adams jumped in with a controversial proposal.
Let's open in prayer. Isn't that amazing? America is opened up with a proposal for prayer, and it begins with a debate over prayer. We can't pray.
Because historian Peter Lilback points out they were Catholics or Protestants from a wide array of denominations.
They never prayed together. They all thought they were from different religions. They thought we're biblical or we're true and they're not.
Adams was a Congregationalist, basically a Puritan like those who under Oliver Cromwell fought a vicious civil war against England's Anglicans.
And the Puritans had chopped off the head of the Anglican Church. He's called Charles I the King.
But Adams made a revolutionary statement.
I can pray with any man who loves his God and loves his country. So here he is, a Congregationalist, And he says, I hear there's just such a man over in that church over there, the Anglican church.
He proposed as pastor Jacob Duché open the Congress in prayer.
It was at that moment that Samuel Adams created the American ecumenical spirit, where in the public square we can walk over our denominational boundaries. Literally, if you will, he stepped over the aisle.
Duché came, but all dressed up in fancy priestly robes.
He came in his full pontificals, which meant he was really decked out with the very things that Puritans hated.
He held the Anglican Book of Common Prayer, which Puritans loathed. But then Duché began the reading set long ago for that day in the book. With a possible war looming, the Congress felt it was a totally prophetic moment, as the reading was from Psalm 35, about being loyal to an elder who suddenly betrays.
That we had been loyal to the mother country, and they're turning against us and harming us.
It started out, fight against them that fight against me. John Adams wrote his wife.
You would have thought in God's providence that was put into the Book of Common Prayer just for this day for us.
Duché's prayer then asked God for freedom from the rod of America's oppressor and ended in the name of Jesus Christ.
It's quite a remarkable moment that's where the American story began. In prayer, as opposite sides came together for a greater good in the name of Christ.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Carpenters Hall, Philadelphia.
A Medal of Honor recipient rescued wounded soldiers scattered across the battlefield, but who saved his life? That story when Faith Nation returns.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel, now available at cbnradio.com.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
While many get to enjoy time off during the holidays, America's servicemen and women are often working to protect the country. Tonight, the story of a former Navy SEAL who was shot 27 times and survived. Mark Martin has his story.
It still has all the bullet holes in it, still covered in blood. It's ripped in the back here.
Retired Navy SEAL Senior Chief Mike Day shows me body armor that helped protect him in a battle with al-Qaeda terrorists in Iraq.
What is this here? Talk about this.
Well, this is what we call an LBE, load-bearing equipment. So this is what you carry your radio in, your magazines, and it's actually loaded up pretty much the way it was that night.
That night in April 2007 in Anbar Province, Day's team of Navy SEALs and Iraqi scouts were on the hunt for a high-level al-Qaeda cell. He says the terrorists had shot down helicopters. Being the first to enter a 12-by-12 room where 4 al-Qaeda leaders waited to strike proved to be almost deadly.
As soon as I entered the room, they opened fire, and I lost my rifle. I transitioned to my pistol, and I killed the guy down the left wall as I was coming off my feet, and I landed right next to him.
When the gunfight was over, Day took out all 4 terrorists in the room, but not before being shot 27 times and hit with grenade shrapnel.
So all of this equipment you were wearing the night that you got shot 27 times?
Correct.
Day first shared his miraculous story with CBN News 6 years ago. Now he has a new book called Perfectly Wounded, a memoir about what happens after a miracle. He says the title came from a comment made by an emergency room doctor.
So he got to see all manner of gunshot wounds, stab wounds. I mean, he saw, if you work in the ER, you get to see all that stuff.
True.
And I was explaining to him where I'd been shot, and his response was, well, you were just perfectly wounded.
Do you believe that God spared your life?
Yeah, I do. A lot of people will look at that whole gunfight. No, you got shot 27 times and walked away from it. You're here for a reason. I think I'm just starting to find out that I actually am. I look at the rest of my life and how protected I've been. I haven't talked to these people, my guardian angels, but I've almost died multiple times, and I'm still here.
What do you hope people take away from the book?
Maybe a way to help build resiliency, and I don't want to give advice. I don't. I'm like, this is how I did it. That's pretty much what the book's about. How I suffered trauma like everybody's going to, and how I built the resiliency to get through the next one.
Although Day doesn't want to give advice, he does offer this to those who may deal with tough times in their own lives.
If all you do is sit on a couch and watch TV and eat bad food, when something really bad happens, you don't have the training, you don't have the practice to get through that. And it can become overwhelming, and it's going to dump you into a hole. So it's just a mindset of training and practicing to build resiliency. And that means getting up and working out. Push yourself just a tiny bit. I like to end my showers with cold water. Knocks the steam down in the room, and it also provides that shock. And I think if you practice physical resiliency, it's going to also build your psychological resiliency, and vice versa.
Before writing the book, Day spent his life giving back. He worked at the U.S. Special Operations Command Warrior Care Program, also called the CARE Coalition, helping service members. He's also taught free fall to military personnel and Special Operations Urban Combat to SEAL teams. Senior Chief Day is also in the process of starting a nonprofit organization called Warrior Tribe. It will provide resiliency education for young people, veterans, and trauma survivors. The retired Navy SEAL is also considering running for governor of Virginia because of his concern that constitutional rights are being taken away.
Yeah, very preliminary. I don't really want to do it. But when I get scared, and I'm kind of scared right now when I'm watching, when I get scared, I go fight. I don't cower. My fight or flight reflex tells me to go fight. And I'm kind of scared right now about what's going on.
Day definitely did not cower that night in 2007 in Iraq when he nearly lost his life.
Why is it important to you to keep this?
Because I want to be able to remember. I mean, it's a treasured possession of mine because it helps me remember and know more. And I don't want to forget it.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your service, too, as well, most definitely.
No, gee, I got kicked out of high school. I had nothing else to do.
No, it's very honorable, your service.
Well, I'm lucky I got to do it.
Mark Martin, CBN News, Virginia Beach.
Coming up, he wasn't just man's best friend, he was a SEAL's best friend. The story of the dog who fought in the War on Terror and went on the mission to capture Osama bin Laden.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Wednesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel. Tikkun Olam.
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone.
I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
We know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com to get your copy today.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
A Millsburg Falls man coming.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Former Navy SEAL Will Chesney helped complete the harrowing mission that took down Osama bin Laden. In his book, he documents the experience and pays tribute to the heroic actions of his closest partner. It is a story with a surprising twist. Eric Phillips reports.
Will Chesney's book, No Ordinary Dog, focuses on his four-legged partner Cairo as much as himself, if not more. He explained to me how Cairo saved his life in more ways than one. So he decided to highlight the major role working dogs play in our military.
You know, I don't like talking about myself, but I'll talk about Cairo. He's pretty easy to talk about.
Retired Navy SEAL Will Chesney says he's always had a love for dogs and knew as a teenager he wanted to be a Navy SEAL. It wasn't until years later, after achieving that goal, that his two loves came together after hearing the testimonials of military dog handlers.
Raise your hand if a dog's ever saved your life, and everybody's hand just went up pretty much.
The first time I met Cairo was at Dam Neck at the training facility, and I remember him coming out towards the bunkers that we were working on, and he was a good-looking, laid-back, calm dog. He had a great bite. He was a really good worker. I got pretty lucky getting him.
Non-stop training built trust, relationship, and a deep dedication.
You know, we ask these dogs to do some pretty dangerous stuff. You know, sometimes they lay down their lives to save ours.
That almost happened during a 2009 mission in Afghanistan when Cairo was shot while protecting his teammates.
When I saw him, he collapsed. I thought he had passed away. I thought he was dead right there.
But Cairo survived and went on to take part in a mission to finally get Osama bin Laden, the infamous mastermind behind 9/11.
But my job that night was to do sweeps of the perimeter, putting the dog in the best position to find any explosives or tunnel systems. I like to say I was just there to babysit Cairo pretty much and let him do all the work. And I remember, I'll never forget when we landed, just looking around and seeing that everybody was still alive and okay, and we had accomplished the mission. And I got to do it with my dog.
Assignments then took Chesney and Cairo in different directions. About a year later, a grenade blast left Chesney with a brain injury and post-traumatic stress, resulting in a difficult discharge from the Navy. By then, Cairo was also reaching the end of his career, and Chesney was able to bring him home.
Cairo was a huge part, and I would think getting me through the tough times as well. Cairo helped me get through some really tough times.
After watching Cairo suffer from cancer, Chesney had him put down in 2015. He says he wrote No Ordinary Dog to honor Cairo's memory, while also bringing attention to military working dogs and service animals in general.
He took care of me, I took care of him. And I just want to tell Cairo's story.
The ultimate love story of man and man's best friend. I should mention that during the height of the pandemic, service animals were used to help bring stress therapy to soldiers fighting against COVID-19 and some of the hardest hit areas. Eric Phillips, CBN News.
The National Mall is gearing up to return to a holiday tradition. Faith Nation will be back with more right after this.
It's the new SUPERBOOK Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and SUPERBOOK episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own SUPERBOOK character. Ta-da! It's the new SUPERBOOK Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Wednesday at 3 on the CBN News Channel. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
And finally tonight, with the pandemic in full swing last year, many 4th of July celebrations were put on hold. But this year, coming out of COVID, a return to an Independence Day tradition in the nation's capital. Fireworks are making a comeback on the National Mall. This Sunday, the show kicks off after sunset at 9:09 p.m. The National Park Service says the display will last about 17 minutes. If you want to watch but won't be in Washington, D.C., PBS will include the fireworks as part of its Capitol 4th coverage. This year, the event will include performances by Jimmy Buffett, Gladys Knight, Train, and other country and Broadway stars. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.